On this podcast, we're going to be talking to all different kinds of people that are all on their own journey and they've all got their own story to tell. We're going to go beneath the surface. My name's Paul Schweiler and I hope you enjoy. All right, Tommy, thanks for coming on, mate. I'm excited to have you.
I'm pumped to be here, man. You've done amazing. This podcast is going incredible.
Well, mate, it is now that you're on it. Now, listen, we just had a really good training session with the group. We're back seeing you tomorrow, but whilst you're here, great chance to jump on and have a chat. I've been thinking about this podcast for a while, trying to figure out which direction I want to take this, because I feel like we could talk probably for lengths of time about certain topics. So I want to talk about a few things, and at the end, we're going to get to a little bit more of a shorter Q&A. But I wanted to make mention, firstly, a big thank you to you, obviously, for everything you've done for me. It was back in March 2019 when I jumped on a plane, flew to Sydney, Uber to Haberfield?
Yeah, Haberfield.
Hour and a half, Uber back to the airport. And, mate, that changed my life, that conversation. Like, I'm not blowing smoke. That changed my life, right? And the question I had for you was, do you sometimes forget the effect you have on people as a business coach?
You do, and the reason why is that at the start, when you're having people giving you positive comments, they mean a lot. As time goes by, anything in life, the law of familiarity comes in, right? So you do forget that, hey, I'm impacting. It makes it hard, Paul, because the impact in 2023 is often done by video. So you only get feedback when you accidentally run into someone they say it, right? It's not like me because I've got a relationship with
of course.
you. But I've got to tell you, it's a currency in my life that matters. It matters to me. If you turn around and say to me, what matters to you? And don't get me wrong, I won't work for nothing, but it makes a big difference to work for something and also to be making an impact while you're making an income.
Of course, I agree. And the reason why I kind of asked that question is obviously when you transact a lot of real estate, you know, we do it at the best of our ability because we understand that everyone's buying and selling for whatever reason, and you really try and get involved in the whole picture around why they're doing it. But I think that I'm guilty, and I think any agent sometimes get a bit guilty of, it can sometimes fall into a transactional mode where you get a bit desensitized a little bit. But I had a call the other night where I called the buyers and said the property was theirs, and they were just, you know, it nearly put me in tears over the phone. Emily was standing next to me. They were so thrilled. And it was a bit of a reminder. I thought, shit, you know, what a opportunity I've got to help these people out. And I wanted to remind you as well that, you know, it's only been 4 years, but the impact you had on me. So I just wanted to remind you of that and thank you for everything you've done for me as well. And don't forget all the other people that you're out there helping as
Thank
well.
you.
So, and I hope they remind you of that as well. Now, another thing as well, Tom, is you're a really busy guy, right? You're also a really wealthy guy. Fair?
Like I would say that would be, I'm not like mega rich, but money's not something that has worried me for a decade now.
Is it true to give some viewers perspective? Is it true that you own over 20 properties throughout the New South Wales market? That be fair or not?
Yeah, more, maybe 25.
25.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, you're all on zero.
Yeah, I'm very conservative. It wasn't always like that, but you know, Paul, I had to accept that because I'd had health issues, I had to have the plan B is if I was going to die, I wasn't going to leave the family with lots of debt. So I played a conservative and ended up I'm not dying. So it's a good thing to be able to be alive and not have massive debt.
Of course.
And I love real estate, and I've bought in and I
You've obviously done really well out of it. I mean, if you've got 25 in Sydney and you own nothing and they're worth something, you're all getting an income. That's a hell of an income stream going on, plus what you do busy. And the question around why I'm getting to this is, why do you continue to work at the level of pace that you do when, quite frankly, you could cut your paycheck in half and relax, still have a great lifestyle maybe take the pressure off a little bit. Why are you still looking to ramp up your business?
So, Paul, I've tasted what life is like not working. So, in one of the cancer spells I had salary continuance insurance, which is your salary is protected, and I had a great policy, which meant that I was going to be getting tens of thousands of dollars every month. I lasted literally 2 to 3 weeks. I couldn't do it, Paul, because I've worked out if I have too much time up my sleeve, my brain goes to dark spots. I have too much time. So I need to be spending my time occupying myself doing stuff. The 2 to 3 weeks that I was doing nothing, even my wife said, she goes, I've never seen you like this. She goes, you're not happy. I said, it's close to depression. So I went back to work. Why do I do it? Paul, because fundamentally, the work I do, I don't hate. I have a model, ELF, effortless, lucrative, fun. So the truth is, I'm not in the same category as someone that says, oh, man, I just can't wait till I finish work, retire, this and that. I'm not there.
Yeah.
I actually like 80% of it. 20% of it gives me the shits, but it still needs to get done.
Tell me about the 20%.
So 20% is people issues, spreadsheet issues. They're the two issues that I find drain me. And that is allocation of funds where they should be going to. I need to do that. I've got to work out where should we be, be putting money in? Should it be going into more resources on this or there? And the other issue is all business problems are normally people problems.
Fair call.
Yeah.
Fair call.
So they're the bits I don't like.
And your years, like for people that watch this that know about your story, you've battled cancer 3 times and you've come out the other side and you're kicking ass, to be fair. We often hear about the loss of your brother George.
Yeah.
That was a big loss for you, like anyone that loses a family member, but I know that hurt. The loss of your brother and the 3 times you've gone through cancer, is that a fire burning under you? Is that something that burns under you to push you to continue to be great? What positives can you take out of, if any, that, George isn't here with us anymore and that you've been through 3 horrible times of beating cancer? Like, what do you create from that? And the reason I ask is because, I've got a history of the black dog, and I use that, and this, we've spoken about it before, I use that as the fear of going back there. So there's a fire under me, I'm burning to not ever to go back to those places. So how does that history of your life affect your business and how you go about life?
So it's complicated, Paul, because with my brother, I did suffer a bit of what is called survivor's guilt. And that is, why someone younger than me, who was a nicer person than me, get cancer once and die, and I get it 3 times, and I don't consider myself to being as nice a person as my brother, and I
So you get a guilt off that. Is that something you still struggle with?
Better. I'm better because I would think to myself, what's the worst case scenario that both me and it was only me and my brother,
of course, yeah,
that we both die, and then I got my mum and my dad that are alive, and they're thinking we're alive and our only 2 kids are dead. I've got better with it, but I've got to tell you, Paul, the one thing I learned out of my own cancer journey is that I've learned, when you're 20 and 30 and even 40, you don't think about dying much, right? But when you're young and you get sick and you're given like a, life-threatening, like a terminal type illness, you actually have to think about, there will be a funeral, I will be buried, there will be people coming to a wake, right? So you think about those things, and then you begin to realize, and this is sad that I say it, when you die, people move on with their life at an astonishing speed. I mean, people might be at your funeral on Wednesday, but they're watching a comedy on Friday.
Yeah.
Right? People move on. And what it's helped me understand is don't stress out. Don't worry what they think about, because when you're gone, they've moved on really fast.
Yep.
Right? Mate, in 30 years, it'll be like I never existed on the planet anyway. It's not like people are going to go in to the real estate gym and be watching these videos. Oh, there's that guy who was around in 2010, right? People are going to move on.
Yep.
So what it's taught me is that you're going to die. Time is running out. Don't muck around with time.
Of course. And I've heard you also say, which I remind myself of a lot. In fact, a lot of things you say stick in my mind. And that is one of, I remember seeing you speak in a video once when you mentioned that you don't want to get to the golden gates one day and look back and regret something you didn't do. So you still live by that?
So 100%. So I'm religious, right? I believe in, I've been brought up a Christian, not a great one, but regardless, I have a belief. And the consequences of getting it wrong could be like, it could be eternal. Could be you got eternal suffering. So I've always thought to myself, you know what? I'm taking out insurance.
Yep.
I'm choosing to believe, and I do live with the thought. I don't think about it every day, but I do think to myself, I got a chance now to actually do the right stuff, because if there is a judgment day, mate, I can't go back.
Yep.
It's too late.
Agreed. Mate, tell me about your wife, because we don't hear about your wife.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what your wife's name is, right?
Yeah.
Your wife she's a secret in a way, because one, she's never on the camera that I see.
Yeah.
You mention her, but she's not part of this the Tom Panos brand. Is that purposeful, or is she really want to stay excluded? Because you're a really well-known character within Australia. New South Wales, you'd be quite heavy. I guess you'd probably walk down the street with her and you'd probably have people tugging on your jacket all the day wanting to say g'day. What's the thoughts around her being so private with your life? Okay.
So before I was doing what I was doing with real estate, she was a CFO. She's been an executive for Johnson & Johnson, Lever Rexona.
Wow. Still working?
No, she's not. And what happened is she did not want to be positioned as, I'm the guy that's helping my husband grow his business. That's one of the reasons.
She didn't want to be felt that she was going to grow your business.
She wanted to, she's wanted to be known as her own person.
I appreciate that.
Which meant that she wasn't going to be a sidekick on the Tom Panos real estate social media gym show. But the second thing is, so that's one part of it. It's not the whole reason. The second thing is she's extremely private, and she's hardly on any social. Like if you look it up,
you wouldn't be able to find her.
You can't find her, right? And that's the same with one of my other daughters, right? So the decision was made, and, I think families do need to have clear out conversations sometimes. Instead of thinking it, say it explicitly. She says, hey, I don't want to be on your social media posts, right? So
you probably that's probably good for you anyway, I suppose.
It hasn't been bad, but I don't hide it. You'll hear me occasionally mention my wife, my family, and that. Yeah. It's just that you don't see with me the happy snaps, and the only one that you see in my family, you don't see Christina anymore. Christina and Sula are very private. Madeline, who's a little bit more out there. Like, you'll see stuff with me on holidays with her in Bali and that, and that's Madeline. Yeah. But
so
that's
three girls.
Three, yeah.
What ages?
19, 18.
Right.
19, 17 and a half.
Okay. What's the overall relationship at home in a sense of, from the outside in looking, if you work as hard as what it seems, you're probably not home all that often. How does, when getting like at the age you're at and you've worked really hard to get here, do you find yourself feeling like want to be at home a little bit more, or are you at home more than that? I think you're at home. How is the dynamic at home with you not being around often?
The irony of it is now post-COVID, where I'm at home more often because Zoom does play a part in my life, is the girls have got to the stage where they don't need me as much. Whereas when they probably needed me, that's when it was, I had a 20-year stretch, it was 200 flights a year. That's when I was, not there.
Yeah.
How do I feel? I struggle with travel. I don't sleep well with travel. I got a low immune system. I get viruses a lot easy when I travel because hotel rooms and aeroplanes and airports, right? Has it had an impact on our family life? Yeah. Early on, around the early 2000s, my wife and I sat down, we had a conversation, and I said, this is the price that needs to get paid. We need to work out, are we prepared to pay the price? And are we on the same page for the results that come with the price?
Yep.
It was 100%. You can be less at home if it's going to mean that there's better schools, holiday homes, more travel, a better life. My wife said, I'll take that deal.
Okay.
Right?
Fair.
So, and that was it.
And it's still working well.
Yeah.
How many hours do you do a week?
On average, it is 12 to 13-hour days. Saturdays, it's about 1 or 2 hours earlier, right? So if you go 6 times, mate, 70 hours, 75 hours.
That's a big week.
Yeah.
Did you ever do more than that, or is that sort of the standard? You feel like you do it pretty easy?
I did. I used to do, I would add another hour or two previously. I think it's easy. I think it's easier now.
Right. And you are a high earning guy, but you also don't seem to be a flashy guy, which is the conversation we're going to get to in a minute. I mean, surely you like to enjoy the fruits of your work. Is there anything that you like to spend money on? Because you don't drive a $500,000 car. I know you've got some holiday apartments, but you're not a flashy guy that, if you are, it's in secret. Like, what do you like? What's your weakness? What do you spend your money on?
Okay, so I'm not. So the truth is, I'm not into flash cars. I'm not into flash clothes. But I could, mate. I got a property that's worth $5.5, maybe $6 million.
It's your principal place. That's where you live.
That's a holiday home.
Oh, right.
I don't Airbnb. I don't rent. I could easily get a couple of grand a night. But what I value is freedom and convenience. I want to be able to wake up, look at the weather on the Apple app. It says 4 days of sunshine, work out if I can actually work out of Byron Bay and go to Byron Bay. Because what gives me joy, Paul, versus a lot of other people I see in real estate anyway, is my joy comes from internally. I get joy by exercising, sleeping well, being at the beach, right? Doing stuff, eating nice, clean food.
Yeah.
That matters more to me than external joys. I don't get that many external joys out of, like...
You're not a material guy.
I'm not,
You like
man.
the things that make you feel good on the inside.
Mate, my clothes, like, look at what I'm wearing. These are from Uniqlo, which would have been $50. This jacket was given to me for nothing by a guy that, as we told you, a tailor. The top here is a $70 Country Road. The shoes are good from a place called Melbourne Baird Footwear because I love their shoes. Mate, I'm not into there. Mate, I haven't leased a car for 30 years, right? I could actually go buy whatever car I want, right? But my currency is not cars, it's freedom and convenience in life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great. Well, mate, you deserve it. That's good to see. And when you go on these little Byron trips, are you on your own or is your wife and family with you?
Last week we were all together.
Right.
I'll probably go back there in 2 weeks' time. I'll be on my own.
Yeah.
But, mate, I know everyone there, right? So, like, there are things to do.
Yeah.
But I would probably say 7 weeks of the year, it's with everyone. Another 5 weeks to 7 weeks, it's without them or with one of the family members.
Yeah, okay. Before we get into a bit more real estate conversation, I want to just quickly talk, just a quick opinion on work-life balance. Is it a thing? With real estate, I've got the opinion of if you want to be in real estate and you want to do well, you're all in. There's not much balance. It's very reactive. Can you really get a work-life balance?
Highest paid hard work, lowest paid easy work.
Yep.
Okay, life balance. Here's my view. If you're not a life work integrator, you're going to struggle in real estate. To me, Paul, there are two types of people in life. There's the work-life segmenter. That's the fireman. You know the fireman that comes home from work, takes off his fire hat, takes off his gear, gets in the shower, don't want to know.
Yep.
I'm off work. That's the work-life segmenter.
Yep.
The work-life integrator is the person that doesn't feel guilty about being on the mobile and an email at home. I had to let go because people would make me feel guilty. Oh, you're on holidays and you're on the phone. Oh, you're on holidays and you're this. You're at the swimming carnival. Well, mate, I'm at the swimming carnival. I'm there, right?
Yeah.
At least I'm there, right? If I find that I'm sending messages and I'm talking to people at 8 o'clock at night and it makes me feel better because I'm not going to get stressed thinking I'm going to go back and I'm going to have 3 days of catch-up calls, right?
Yep.
So very few people can succeed in our real estate business without being work-life integrators.
Agreed. Let's chat about real estate. Lots of good conversations here. A bit more of a Q&A, so I think we just got the 15-minute nod to go. So I want to talk about social media really quickly. You've got a really good following at 71K. Ever bought a follower in your life?
Never.
Never. What do you think about people that buy their followers? Because they stand out like, you know what?
Yeah.
And there's a couple of people that are high-profile real estate agents / coaches that clearly buy their followers. Why do you think they do it?
Low self-esteem.
Right. Is there any other do you think they've made that decision because they actually think it's going to improve their business, or do you think it really is a low self-esteem thing?
They're no different to the guy that does a rent a crowd. Rent a crowd because it's going to make it look like I'm popular, I'm interested, right? So the problem is once you go down that path, you can't get out of it.
That's right.
And the reason why is the minute you go out of it, you're telling everyone I was a fake. Right?
100%.
So you actually get caught up. And then the worst part about it is that these social media platforms, who are not stupid, they actually turn around and they treat you poorly with the algorithm because they've worked out you've got, 200,000 followers, yet hardly anyone comments, hardly anyone likes, hardly anyone shares. Yeah. You are a spammer. Let's not share your content. So what actually happens is you get cornered. You're stuffed.
Yep.
It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And I think most importantly, some people that are actually got the fake bots think no one knows. Like as you said, you stand out, Paul.
You can't have over 100,000 followers and have 800 people watch your reels. It doesn't add up.
Exactly.
You lose credibility, and it's a shame that people do it, but I can't help but watch. Real estate agents. I think I saw this come from Emil Jurassic actually recently about we were voted number 1 for the most hated or non-trusted profession, right? Now, I know why that's the case. And every single real estate agent you speak to, they say, oh, I do my best, blah, 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 blah. But this industry drives me nuts because it's no wonder we're disliked because we're the only profession that I know of that talks about how much money they earn. No one else does it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Why do agents feel the need to boast their commission earnings when the dentist doesn't tell you how many root canals he done in a week and the dentist makes good money? The lawyer doesn't tell you what he made on the hourly rate on the Why do real estate agents like to boast their commission earned? And why do big brand franchises give awards for commission?
Okay, so the two questions. Question number 1 is, why do they do it? One of the reasons is real estate is an external facing public job, right? So it is out externally a lot more. So there's this perception by real estate agents, hey, I need to look good. But without a doubt, the biggest reason is, and it's hard because I make a living out of this industry, but this industry is made up a lot of people that probably did pretty ordinary at school, academically were quite average, and then they find, hey, I'm not a loser. I can actually make calls and I can put deals together and I can be someone. I will show you who this loser is. So no different to the AFL player, right, who actually was terrible at everything, cracks it, is a great footy player, and then sort of, explodes, look at me, right?
Yeah, right.
So
but the AFL player doesn't go out there and say, I just signed a deal for 850 grand. If I'm talking about stats and I want to, showcase some results, I'm happy to talk about dollars transacted. We sold $11 million in the month last month. We sold 12 properties for the last month. I would never mention commission earned. I almost feel like it's a slap in the face of your previous vendors and your future. That's just an opinion. I don't like it.
So Paul, it's probably a lot to do with your last question about the fake followers. It's a low self-esteem issue. It's like saying to people, look at me, look at what I'm making.
But this is why real estate agents aren't liked. And it's never going to change if we've got blokes flashing in their $250,000 watches around, driving their Lambos. That's all good to have it. Like, for example, Marcus Chiminello, right? Great example. Marcus has got money and he's got a lot of cars, right? No one's ever seen him. I only know that I know because I know he's got them, right? But no, he never talks about the white G-Wagon in his garage or anything like that. But that's why the guy's a class act. But you look at other people out there that do great business, but they can't help but flaunt all their stuff. And that's why I think real estate agents are disliked. Do you ever tell people to chill?
I do it in a subtle way, and I've got to accept it. I've got people that follow me and do my work and would be seen as being fans, or are even coaching people that love the affluence that money gives them. Yep. So what I turn around in a soft way, Paul, is I say to them, hey, I want to let you know, they already hate our guts. They don't like us. If we actually give them reasons to hate us more, that's not helping you. That's harming you. But, Paul, when your ego is bigger than your IQ, it is too hard to actually solve.
It's hard to come back from. Yeah. So, that leads me to my next question. You've got a lot of clients. I don't know how many you've got that you work with. How many of them have you ever sacked someone? Do you have anyone on your books right now that, whilst they're probably helping you earn an income, that you would love to say, listen, you're probably not a great representation of my brand anymore, and you have a conversation, shape up, or maybe we're not partners?
For me to sack someone, I would have screwed up in accepting the business in the first place, right? So the qualifying it. But it does happen. It happened in recent times. I've sacked a client that is a significant amount of money. Why do I do it? Very simple, Paul. Maybe 20 years ago, I wouldn't have sacked them because I needed the money, right? But when there's less dependence on the client, if you feel their values are not aligned with your values, if you feel like every time you interact with them, your energy is being sucked, you turn around and realize it's not good business, right? But it's easy for me to say it, but someone listening to this that's making 80 grand a year, right, that's thinking to themselves, I've got this crazy landlord, I've got this vendor that's driving me from hell, they're overpriced, they won't listen to my feedback. Mate, if they're making 80 grand, you'll put up with it, right? That's the deal. But I've got to tell you, there comes a time in life where you turn around and say, if they're overpriced, unmotivated, unrealistic and difficult people, they're not for me.
Yeah, fair. It's the way we always think. Short questions. I'm going to have to skip a bit.
Yeah.
Few words, one sentence with these questions. Do you think agents are overpaid in general? Do you think we're overpaid?
Good agents are underpaid, bad agents overpaid.
Good. Thoughts on Josh Teschlin's auction strategy when everyone's yelling and screaming? Like it or don't?
You're talking about his bidders? I've seen a couple of social media videos. I don't do his auctions. So.
Yeah, no, his team that are screaming the pricing of the bid of the buyer. Do you like it or you don't? It obviously works for him.
Wouldn't work in my markets.
Right. Okay. Does my cousin Vlad stay in costume when you speak to him off camera, or does he just talk to you normally?
Mate, you'd be shocked. This guy here is very quiet, married to a doctor, right? Like, he is not what you think, right?
Yeah.
He's the classic thing where they turn around and say the comedian is nowhere near like what they really like that Robin Williams. I'm not saying he's depressed. He's just totally different person.
Yeah, interesting. Should ARIC just be called the Prospect Fucking Harder Conference? that what it all boils down to?
You could probably turn around and say every real estate bit of content training should be prospect harder.
Pretty
right?
much.
Yeah.
What did you think of last year's or this year's ARIC comparison to others?
The one that just went by.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing it to
The year before.
the year before. I forget them because I've been involved.
Because you're involved.
12, 13 of them. 80% of the speakers were good.
Yep.
80%, not all.
Do you think that there's an opportunity for more everyday agents to speak rather than listen to keynotes from international?
100%.
Okay. I'm going to rattle off a bunch of names. We're going to wrap it up, Tom, because we're on the clock because you've got some stuff to do. I'm going to read out some people's names, and I just want you to tell me what word comes to mind. Okay. 1 to 3 words. Alex Phillips.
Fanatical.
Phil Harris.
Good guys come first.
Josh Vegan.
Not a bad trainer.
Adrian Bowe.
He's a good guy, trying to do his thing.
Josh Tesselin.
Workaholic.
The Novaks.
Should be in Hollywood.
Gav Rubenstein.
Very commercially savvy. Very commercially savvy.
Matt Steinwade.
Energy.
Adrian Portelli.
Media tart.
Dr. Fred.
Spiritual fitness.
John McGrath.
Real deal.
Marty Fox.
Marketing.
Michael Koloshi.
Comeback's bigger than the setback.
Tanae Jane.
Doesn't matter where you start from.
Love that one. Emil Jurassic.
Croatia.
My cousin Vlad.
Should not have got into real estate.
Do you remember the first time you did a live with him? The world went fucking mad.
Yeah.
No one knew what was. He was taking the piss. Yeah. Last two. Daniel Andrews.
Dictator Dan.
Yeah. Dictator Dan.
Happy he's gone.
Tamara Hall.
She's likable.
She's likable.
Listen, I like her, right? And she obviously uses her looks to sell.
She does well. She's a high performer.
I like her.
Yep. Mate, I've had to skip through it a lot. I could go on forever. This went really quickly. We've got to go. Em's giving me the big wind up. Mate, again, I appreciate your time. Thanks for today. We're looking forward to the future, and hopefully one day we can get a part 2.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Congratulations.